Today I've got some awesome comic book speculation. It's one of my favorite current series, Strange Academy by Scotty Young. I don't think this series gets nearly enough attention that it deserves, but today I'm going to be covering what the main story is about, the different covers and their variants, the prices, and why I think you should be investing in it, so stay tuned. Welcome back everyone, AR Comics here, and today I've got some brand new comic book speculation for you all. But first, if you are new to the channel, I drop weekly comic book content that includes upcoming book releases, speculation videos, unboxings, new comic book hauls, and I also do new comic book day reviews. So if that sounds like something you don't want to miss out on, make sure you hit the subscribe button down low and the little bell to get notified every time I drop new content. You won't regret it. And now, without further ado, let's get started on the speculation. So, if you haven't read Strange Academy yet by Scotty Young, in my opinion, you are making a huge mistake. Despite it only being 2 issues, Scotty Young and his team has done a phenomenal job with it so far. Doctor Strange has finally done it, and he creates an academy for young sorcerers. He gets this feeling, or he realizes that there's something completely wrong in the Marvel Universe, and he needs all hands on deck. He creates this academy, he has his own hand-picked staff, and they just kind of teach all of these young kids. If you're a new reader or an old reader, you can come to an agreement that that staff that he chose was fantastic. Some of the members include Brother Voodoo, Ancient One, Scarlet Witch, Magic, Hellstrom, and there's so many more that they haven't even mentioned yet. One thing that I really like about this series so far is that it kind of has that Harry Potter feel in that all these kids are coming from different backgrounds, so different dimensions, different worlds, and they kind of recognize each other. It's either their parents hate each other or they don't get along, they recognize maybe their last names. So right off the bat, they're all fighting. But you quickly realize that they have to come together, they have to learn these spells, and they really just have to become this cohesive unit and work as a team. Young and his team have done a great job just showcasing that so far. And even though it's only been 2 issues, you really see progression of the characters. They went from hating each other to just kind of hating each other. But at the end of the day, they're working together, and you even see some of them hug it out, and they enjoy like their presence because they just came together and just beat this big monster. Another thing to me that's really important about this series is that in this issue 1, there are 11 brand new characters, all first appearances, and you don't know which ones are going to be important or which ones aren't. But in a few interviews with Scotty Young, he's talked about Emily Bright, who is one of the main characters, and one of his favorite characters, who I think is also going to be pretty important, is Doyle Dormammu. He talks about how much he loves that character and how much fun it is, and he loves this series. And plus it's been hyped up as a preview in so many Marvel issues. You know Marvel is not going to miss out on an opportunity at making this into a next big TV show. So now that I've talked about the series itself a little bit, let's talk about some of these covers. So in my opinion, this is probably the most important book and cover to own. It's cover A of the first issue, and that's, as I was saying, all of the first appearances. You get introduced literally to the entire Strange Academy realm. However, there are a ton of covers, so I'm just going to breeze through a lot of these and talk about which ones I think are the most important. I'm pretty sure it's like A through F. So this is cover A. There is a cover B and a cover C variant that came out when the initial series got released. From there, they came out with a Comic Mint exclusive. It's a Peach Momoko artwork. I'm not a huge fan of Peach Momoko, but there is a trade dress and a virgin variant, and I do think it is very nice. After that, there's a cover D, and that's the J. Scott Campbell cover. I really like this cover as well, and if you do have this issue, I'm not sure if it's too late in the game for it, but he was doing an in-house signing with CGC. I do think the cutoff date is October 1st, so it might be a little bit too late for you, but if you have it, you should check it out. And then we have a 1 in 25 retailer incentive variant and a 1 in 50 retailer incentive variant as well. I think both of those are very important covers. I think they're definitely harder to come by and definitely on the expensive side. And then the final variant for this issue is a Scotty Young variant. Also another one I really like, but in my opinion, this is the one that you need to be going for. And if you do have an opportunity, check out that 1 in 25 or the 1 in 50 variants. So those are the variants. However, there is a second and also a third printing. I wasn't able to grab the second printing, and to be honest, I really wasn't even able to grab most of those variants. A lot of my shops don't get a lot of variants, and sometimes by the time I'm even able to get to the shop to pick up my books, everything's already cleared out. So it sucks, but it is what it is. However, if you have been keeping up and you've been watching my videos, you do know that issue 3 comes out this week for New Comic Book Day, and also a 4th printing. So it's something to be on the lookout for, and you do not want to miss out on that. Next up, we have issue 2. This is cover A. I don't think in the grand scheme of it, issue 2 is really that important. These covers are still very easily obtainable, and there definitely aren't as many variants. So this is cover A. There is a cover B as well. I do really like this one. I think this is one you should be investing in too. To be honest, I would take this one over cover A. This is the one that's selling for a lot more as well. And after that, there's just a 1 in 25 incentive variant. So you don't have the same type of print as the first one did. Maybe it didn't get as much positive feedback, and it just dropped a little bit, so a lot of people really weren't ordering it. There is a 2nd and 3rd printing, and eventually a 4th printing is planned for issue 2. The 3rd printing comes out in November. The 2nd printing is out right now. The 4th printing still has no publication date. So those are all of the issues, all of the covers, and now that I've went through them, I know you're dying to hear about the prices. Issue 1 is pretty much the one that's selling for the most money, so I'm just going to go through a few of the issues and just talk about what they've recently sold for on eBay. So all of these sold for prices are all within this month, so everything from September. So issue 1, cover A, has recently sold for $40. I think that's kind of a fair market deal. I think that's what a lot of raw issues are selling for. But then a cover A 1st, 2nd, and 3rd print set has sold for $60, but it was a best offer accepted, so it's probably, $50 or $55. If you do have that J. Scott Campbell, a 9.8 CGC graded was sold for $120, and that is unsigned. So if you have that issue, you should send it in and go from there. We have a 9.6 cover A, sold for $64.34. A little random, but it's selling. And I did fail to mention that there is a Walmart variant as well. It's not something that a lot of people own, but I know a lot of Walmarts, especially mine, don't really have these comic books. So I don't really know if they're hard to come by. I know a lot of people have been dying for that Venom one. I would be on the lookout still. They're always hiding in like the card sections if they do have them. And then we have another 9.6 CGC that sold for $75, but best offer was accepted, so it may have been a little bit less than that. And then we have a 5-issue variant set that sold for $175. So as you can tell, these issues are selling. They're really not selling for a whole lot of money, but in my opinion, this is something that you should be holding on to and just grab a few issues just to look forward to in the future. So that's issue 1. Now I'm going to go over issue 2 a little bit more. Issue 2 starts off, we have a cover A and a cover B set that sold for $35. Cover B sold for $25 and a steal for $6. Other than that, nothing's really too crazy. We have a number 1 3rd print with a number 2 cover A that sold for $13, and then a 2nd print sold for $3.25. But then we have a cover A that sold for $17.50. Issue 2 kind of is selling. It's not nearly as much as issue 1, mainly because, as I was saying earlier, issue 1 does have a lot of first appearances, and it's kind of the whole beginning of Strange Academy. So now I've broke down the story, the covers, the prices, and now why I believe that you should be investing in this series. I've obviously talked about it a little bit, but as I said earlier, this is kind of like Marvel's own Harry Potter. It's got that whole world, all these different people with magical powers are coming together, and this just screams Disney Plus. They do not want to see this flop, and there's no reason that they shouldn't do something with this series. It's already a great run. I know most people who are reading this, if not everyone that's reading this, really does enjoy it. I know a few people who aren't too into it, and that's because they see it as that Harry Potter, and they're like, it's just kind of like a knockoff Harry Potter. And I totally get that too if that's not your thing, but I'm a big fan of it, and I do think this has that same potential, but on the Marvel side. As of right now, I do think the important covers that you should be going for is issue 1 cover A, and obviously the incentive variants. And then issue 2, in my opinion, neither of them are really too hard to come by. I don't really like going for all the extra printings, but if that's your thing, make sure you check that out. And as I was saying before, issue 3 is coming out this Wednesday, and it's also dropping a 4th print of issue 1. So be on the lookout. And now it's your turn. What did you think of my speculation? Do you think Strange Academy is something you should be checking out, maybe looking into a little bit more? Or if you're reading it and you don't even like it, let me know down low in the comments section what you guys think. I want to hear which covers you love, which ones you don't like, and which ones you think I should personally be investing in. So thank you again for watching my video, and if you don't want to miss out on any of my upcoming videos, make sure you hit that subscribe button down low and the little bell to get notified every time I drop new content. You won't regret it. And just a reminder, my days are every Sunday, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, and with that, have a good day.